The fear of death is far greater than death itself. The eyes are the window to the soul. You're not gonna like this view. And I'm pretty damn sure mankind did not like the view looking into the eyes of the Phenom, the force that wreaked havoc for over 3 decades in the WWE. And folks, thank you for tuning in right now to Flashback Friday as we talk WWE In Your House, Buried Alive, 1996. Oh yeah, we're taking it back. October 20th, 1996, in a pay-per-view that I believe was ahead of its time. Oh yeah, 5 matches on this card. And this was the time in WWE that, well, they were facing a major shift in the world, and especially in the world of pro wrestling. Things were getting a little more edgier. Some of the characters that we seen back in the day no longer existed. But there was one character. There was one character that transcended all decades, from 1990 all the way to right now, 2020. And that character is the Undertaker. In this main event, which we will get to a little bit later on the show, was the first of its kind. A buried alive match. You know, I remember watching this event back in 1996, and I was thinking to myself as a child, he's going to die. Whoever gets buried is going to be dead, because they're not going to be able to breathe in that hole right there, unless there's a secret doorway that's going to lead them to a different area outside of the gravesite. And I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh my God, I was so nervous for either The Undertaker or Mankind. I was a huge Undertaker fan, but then Mankind to me was cool. I mean, this guy was a freak. I mean, he's pulling out his own hair. He was very different. And WWE, at the time, had to do some things different because WCW was starting to pick up some steam. Hulk Hogan had just made that huge heel turn back in July, and this event took place in October. And it took place from Indianapolis, Indiana at the Market Square Arena. Jim Ross, one of the commentators on here, he was a heel commentator at this event, for this event, during this time period. Notice that the WWE did not go with the traditional house setup, as they always did since day one in your house. This was a gravesite. This was like you were walking into a cemetery. And I like the fact that they switched things up a little bit over here. Also notice that to start the show, even though there were 5 matches on the card, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. Think of that opener, folks. Steve Austin and Triple H opening your card. What does that say? I noticed how good Triple H and Stone Cold were, man. I mean, it was inevitable. It was inevitable for these guys to be stars. And let's talk about that match right now. I got some notes here. It was a pure wrestling match. And this is what threw me off, folks, because, you think Stone Cold Steve Austin, you don't think wrestling. You think fight. That's what you think. Triple H, yeah, you can understand. He's a cerebral assassin. He became the cerebral assassin years later. But you think, okay, Triple H could put on a damn good wrestling match. I see what he did in WCW. Now, Mr. Perfect, at one point, comes out, steals Triple H's lady, who came out with H, and Stone Cold went out to get him. Confrontation ensued, and Austin throws water on Perfect. Triple H then meets Perfect on the aisle, but Austin jumps Triple H, and they're fighting on the aisleway. And I got to tell you, this opening match, I think, ran about close to 20 minutes, if not 20 minutes. And it was the perfect match to start the show and set the tone. There was a spot on the outside where they were fighting out there, and Triple H then gets catapulted into the steel steps by Stone Cold Steve Austin. They get back into the ring, and ultimately Stone Cold nails that stunner to Hunter, puts him down on the mat for the 1, 2, 3. But I did notice Austin didn't have that kick yet. Stunner, one shot, one and done, son, and you're on the mat with the shoulders down, 1, 2, 3. Steve Austin gets the victory in this match. But watching it back, Stone Cold was and is, I think, even to this day, my favorite superstar of all time. And it's funny because you think he's not really a technical wrestler. He's, a punch, a kick, a stunner, a Lou Thesz press. stomping a motor hole in you. Not very technical. But he was one of the best to ever do it because of how he did it in his character. And we don't see these characters nowadays, and I stress that so much, man. And I look back at this card, and there were only, again, I stress this, 5 matches. And each match brought something different to the table. Each match was unique in its own way. And we had superstars back then. I feel like a lot of wrestlers nowadays are just creator wrestler, all defaults. Well, most of them. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult anybody out there. If you feel insulted, then obviously, okay, you got some work to do, buddy. You got some work to do. That means you're doubting yourself, your self-esteem is pretty low, or you absolutely suck. You got to switch things up. This is the time period that I miss. This is a time period that we don't have right now. And I am concerned, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on at the end of this recap, but I am concerned about the direction of pro wrestling in 2020. But I want to move along right now. Tag team action. The Smoking Guns taking on Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith. And Davey Boy and Owen were the tag team champions. The Smoking Guns were looking to regain those belts. Now, there has been some dismantling of the Guns as of late during this time period. There's been some tension between Billy and Bart, and Sonny says, you know what? I'm not dealing with you guys anymore. You can't win a match. She is frustrated. She's distraught over this. She leaves the gang, and Billy is doing everything in his power right now to impress Sonny, to show Sonny that they are the real deal. Well, maybe not they, but that he is the real deal. Because it seemed like to me, Billy Gunn was only concerned about getting Sonny's attention, and he was not concerned about the match at hand against Owen and Davey. Or maybe just Owen Hart. Because this match, I gotta tell you, Davey Boy didn't even get in the ring. It was all Owen. The match ran not even 10 minutes, and Owen Hart was in the entire time. Now, I don't know if this is how they wanted to do it, or if there was something going on with Davey that he really couldn't get in the ring. I tried to look that up, couldn't find any information on it. If you know, please comment below. But I gotta tell you, man, Owen, and we talked about Owen. This man is ahead of his time. Owen Hart, I mean, you know what I'm going to say here. You know how I feel about Oj. Come on. Owen did some maneuvers that guys wish they could do. Okay, he was extremely talented, and he left us way too soon. In this match, he showed you exactly how talented he can be. He can sell. He can deliver. He does it all. Owen does it all, okay? But as good as Owen was, he could not keep this match together. It was sloppy. It was a slop fest. I mean, yeah, there was great tag team work by the Guns, but come on, guys. I mean, come on. You could have definitely had a better match than this, especially with Owen in that ring. And, Billy is a damn good athlete. Bart's okay. Bulldog's great. He didn't even get in the ring, but come on. Should be ashamed. I mean, look at the end of the match. Look at the mess up. Look at the botch at the end of the match. Now, first and foremost, the Guns go for their finishing maneuver. Here's Billy on the top rope, going for this leg drop. They called it the Sidewinder. And Bart's holding Owen up right here, standing up where Billy's going to land right on his torso or his neck, okay, with that leg drop. And there's Davey Boy holding Bart Gunn by the waist, by the belt. And I know, and everybody at home knew that he felt that, okay? And he's playing it off. He's kayfabing it like it didn't, okay? But as Billy comes down, here's where the mess occurs. I mean, the way Bart fell with Owen, and then Bulldog rolls, and it was sloppy. Oh, God. And then the match ends with a spinning heel kick, I believe, off of the ropes. Owen delivers to Bart, or Billy Gunn, I believe, and 1, 2, 3. It's over. Thank God. Honestly, thank God it was over at this point. I could not bear to see anymore. I found myself looking at my cell phone multiple times during this match, and I was trying to tear myself away from it. I don't know why. I'm like, please, Jimmy, put down the phone. Okay, you got to watch this. And that just goes to show you that my interest was not there, okay? But nevertheless, Owen and Bulldog get the victory in this match. And moving along to a segment here. Now, since the beginning of the broadcast, Jim Ross has had trouble with his headset. It was going in and out, and he was very irate. You could feel that frustration. I almost felt like it was real heat. Now, I don't know if some of the comments and remarks that he made towards Vince McMahon was real, was legit at this time, okay? But, wow, this was a turning point, you can tell, in the business of wrestling and in the WWF at the time. Ross was basically talking about Vince firing him twice and that he is going to be responsible for bringing back Bret Hart to the WWE. He's also responsible for bringing back, quote-unquote, Razor and Diesel, you know, the fake Razor, Rick Bogner, and then Diesel, as we know, Glenn Jacobs, Kane, playing that fake Diesel, and made a comment towards Vince McMahon. I don't remember the comment verbatim, but it was not the nicest thing to say. Then Ross storms off, and he's gone. And now we're down to a two-man booth between Vince and Lawler. And this was the early signs of that Attitude Era. And it was very different to hear Ross as a heel, because I was so used to hearing Ross as a babyface, even earlier on in his career, and then hearing him, you know, later on, knowing how he was later on in his career. You know, I had that impression Ross is always the good guy behind the mic. But this one is very weird, very different. But different in a good way, I felt. I don't know. I kind of like Jim Ross as a heel. He holds no punches, folks. Here, next match on the card, it was Goldust versus Marc Mero. Now, little backstory behind this. Okay, Marc Mero was actually supposed to be facing Farouk, but Farouk got injured by the hands of Ahmed Johnson. This was a legit injury, I found out. And later on, we find out Farouk really puts the boots to Ahmed in real life. They had some real-life heat. That's a story for another day. But this match, Mr. Perfect, he comes out, commentates this match. Marc Mero, he has this little sparkler pyro going on in the middle of the ring there. Comes out with Sable, the stunning Sable, who, as we know now, is Brock Lesnar's wife. You know, Marc Mero's one of those guys that's just criminally underrated. I mean, he brought that cruiserweight athleticism to the WWE during this time. And that's something they needed. They needed that versatility. They needed that diversity on the card. And this was that match. It was very fast-paced. Mero pulling off some just insanely athletic maneuvers over the top rope. We're going to talk about the finishing maneuver that he pulled off momentarily. Him and Goldust going at it. There was a spot in the match, and you don't see this a lot nowadays. Spot in the match, Goldust takes the mic and tells the crowd to shut up, or he's going to go out there and just tongue somebody down. You know, they don't stop a match like that nowadays and grab a mic to say that. That's, you know, back then, that's like late 90s stuff, early 2000s. A lot of false finishes. A lot of times, I felt like Mero was going to get that victory, especially with this springboard moonsault that he did off the top rope in 1, 2, no, as Vince McMahon would say. And it had you on the edge of your seat. And then there's a spot where Perfect gets up, like he's going to check on Goldust and Mero. Triple H comes out. Goldust then taps on Perfect's shoulder, and Perfect levels him, knocking him to the floor, chases Triple H back, goes back towards the commentating table, and then as Goldust gets back in the ring, Mero takes advantage, hits him with the Wild Thing. Are we going to see it? Are we going to see it? Yeah, we seen it, the Wild Thing. The shooting star press off of the top rope by Marc Mero. A shooting star back in the WWE, WWF at the time, in the mid to late 90s. I mean, you didn't see that often. This was like the first time that you've seen probably a maneuver like this anywhere in the WWE during this time period, okay? This is why this time was the beginning. I said it before and I'll say it again. This was the beginning of the transition, 1996. You want to talk Attitude Era? Look back as far as 1996, and then you'll see the beginning stages of that. But Mero retaining the belt, getting the victory, and then celebrating in the middle of the ring with Mr. Perfect? I don't know. I'm at a loss there because I believe the next night on Raw was Perfect's last night with the company. It's weird. A lot of things happened in 1996. I got to tell you, a lot of guys jumped ship. There were WCW guys, some of them that started coming over to WWE. There was a lot of WWE talent going to WCW. Okay, people were making moves. There were guaranteed contracts on the table, and no other organization had those contracts. There was no such thing at the time, and that's where guys like Razor Ramon and Big Daddy Cool Diesel took advantage of the money. Hey, if the money's there, can you blame them? Honestly, come on. And then we move on to the pre-main event. And I take a look at these two guys, and I'm clueless about two different things. It was the Battle of the Power Bombs, Sycho Sid and Vader. And number one, how the hell was Sycho Sid that over? I mean, the man came out to a standing ovation. I don't understand why the fans got behind Sid so damn much. And number two, I don't understand how WWE could drop the ball with Vader. The man was over in Japan. The man was over in WCW. The man in WWE was a flop. A flop. You're talking about, come on, Vader? Man, so much potential. So many things they could have done with Vader that they did not do right. And you look at this match, and I knew it wasn't going to be nothing impressive. It was going to be two big guys beating the hell out of each other. Okay? A brutal fight. That's what it was going to be. Okay? Not very scientific. Shawn Michaels comes out. He commentates this match because he's going to be facing the winner at the next event, which is Survivor Series 1996. And for those keeping score at home, we know what match happened at Survivor Series 1996. That was Shawn and Sycho Sid. So, spoiler alert, Sid does win this match. But let's just talk about just a little bit of this match right here. Now, Shawn comes out in the beginning, takes the handkerchief out of Jim Cornette's jacket, the blazer he had. Blows his nose, throws it on the floor. As Jim Cornette goes to pick it up, he kicks him in the ass. Vader goes to clothesline Michaels. Michaels ducks, leaves the ring, hits Sid, bang, match is on. Two big guys back and forth, back and forth. I thought maybe I was going to at least see a big spot by Vader. None of that. A lot of closed fist right hands. Back and forth, back and forth. Then we get to the end of the match where Vader tries to powerbomb Sid. He can't lift him up, apparently. And Sid breaks out of it. They're going back and forth. Sid hits a devastating choke slam to win the match. But wait a minute. I thought this was the battle of the power bombs. I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe Sid would actually win the match with a power bomb. Why would you call it the battle of the power bombs and the match ends with a choke slam? That's like saying, well, we're going to have a first man to hit their finisher wins match, okay? Finisher match. And I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you're the Undertaker. And, well, Stone Cold hits you with a Luthiers press, and the match is over. Or vice versa. Undertaker hits you with a choke slam, and the match is over. No, what's going on here? I don't know. I was just a little thrown off by that. Anyway, Sid gets the victory. And here's the best part of the whole damn match. The post-match interview. So, Doc Hendricks, and I love Handsome Doc, okay, goes to interview Sid. Jim Ross interferes, cuts him off, and it's kind of funny how it happens because we remember that one interview that Jim Ross had with Sycho Sid where Sid was at a loss of words and said, anybody has any doubt? We'll get their answer tonight. He's like, well, the skeptics had to change the whole thing up. And then Ross like, well, Sycho Sid, there you have it, man, a few words. And now Ross comes out, starts hitting left and right. Questions to Sid. The first two, Sid is golden. Sid is like, yes, yes. And he knows what he's saying. That's it. And then Ross hits him with the hard question. Here it is, folks. The hardest question ever. Will you do anything to win? And Sid replies, as only Sid can, the question is simple. Yes, I will. I will do anything. I have to go to my destiny and make my conquer and prove I am the master and the ruler of the world. And I will tell you this, my friends, right now. You may be the master and the ruler of the world, but you are not the master or ruler of any goddamn promo, Sid. Let me disconnect my jaw from my upper portion of my mouth. Sid, you may be the master and the ruler of the world, as you say it, but you're not the master or ruler of any kind of promo. My man, you fold under pressure. I would not do a robbery with you. You're going to be stuttering all over the place. Sid, one of the worst on the microphones. I don't understand how you freeze up that much. I don't know if it's because you use so much intensity that the blood was blocking your brain from functioning. It's laughable, folks. It's hilarious. It is. I don't know how Vince McMahon put up with that for as long as he did. I think that's the reason why Sid was pretty much gone after he lost to The Undertaker in 1997 at WrestleMania 13. But moving along, the main event, speaking of The Undertaker, the Phenom, the Dead Man, this was the match we were all waiting for. This was the name of the show, Buried Alive. The Buried Alive match. The Undertaker going one-on-one with Mankind. And these guys had a feud in 1996. And they showed an incredible video package right before the match. I urge you, please go back and watch this match. If you can't watch the match, just watch the video package. Look at the feud that these guys had. This is storytelling at its finest. This is something that we don't see anymore nowadays, or we rarely see nowadays in WWE. And the stage was set. The grave site was set. Mankind comes out. The Undertaker comes out. And this was a fight from jump. I mean, it was a brawl. Right hands, left and right, Mankind, Undertaker going at it. You knew this match was going to be fast-paced. It was going to be brutal, no holds barred, and they held no damn punches. And I noticed that The Undertaker was more aggressive in this match. He was a more aggressive Undertaker. He had to up his game to take out Mankind. I mean, we've seen a top rope maneuver by The Undertaker, some sort of a clothesline from the top rope to the outside on Mankind, and we never seen the Taker like this. I mean, he was pulling out all the stops to put Mankind to rest in this match. I mean, there was a spot, I gotta tell you, Mankind takes a beat. Mick Foley takes a beating like nobody else in the business of pro wrestling, even to this day. I mean, Taker just kicked him back, sent him flying into the guardrail. He cracked his head on the back of that guardrail. You seen it was real. Some of the chair shots in this match, and Foley's known for this, man. He doesn't put his hand up. He takes the shot, and he took a couple of shots in this match, including a leg drop by Taker on the chair. I mean, even The Undertaker took a chair shot of his own without any blocking in this match. This was one of those matches, folks. This is one of those matches that you go back and you say, wow, you know, I just seen something great. I seen storytelling. I seen two men that were fighting for their lives in the middle of that ring, literally, because somebody was about to be buried. And I was wondering, who was going to die tonight? Because at this time, I was scared. I was genuinely scared for either Mankind or The Undertaker. I love The Undertaker. I didn't want Undertaker to lose the match, okay? But I didn't also want to see Mankind die in the match at the time. But, you know, some of the things that happened here, folks, in this match were interesting. Storytelling. The fact that The Undertaker was chasing Paul Bearer around the ring, and Mankind was chasing The Undertaker, following him with the chair. And Undertaker sees this, attacks Mankind, and while he attacks Mankind, Paul Bearer hits him with the urn. And Taker no-sells it. Little things like this. No-sells Paul Bearer hitting him with an urn. Goes around, looks at him, and then Mankind hits him with the chair, and then he sells it. Showing you that Paul Bearer holds no weight, but Mankind is a force. Just little things like that. And more storytelling. You know, Mankind sitting down on the apron, back and forth with the urn. It's okay. It's okay. Sitting there like Mankind does, talking to the urn. Psychotic bastard. Psychotic. One hell of an actor, Mick Foley is. You know, there was spots in this match I've talked about where chairs got involved, steel steps got involved, and then Undertaker delivers the tombstone in the middle of the ring to Mankind and carries him all the way to the grave. And Mankind somehow gets the mandible claw on Undertaker, and the claw's locked in, and Taker's going down. And then Taker rises up and chokeslams Mankind into the grave. And then what? Starts burying. Starts taking the shovel and throwing the dirt right on Mick, right on Mankind. And the ref calls it. Ref says, that's it, that's it. He's buried. A quarter of his body's already buried. You win the match. Now, I noticed that Mankind had his face in a position here with his arms out as if he was trying to breathe through something. I don't know how they worked this whole Buried Alive match. I'm pretty sure he was breathing some oxygen through there or whatnot while Undertaker was throwing the dirt on him. But here's where it gets interesting right now, folks. Because Undertaker didn't want to stop. Undertaker said, you know what? I'm not stopping till he's done. Till he's completely immersed in dirt. And he starts digging and burying Mankind and burying refs coming out. And refs can't stop him. And Undertaker's throwing the refs off. And then what happens? The Executioner, as we find out his name is, comes out and levels Taker with a shovel, knocking him down right into the grave. And then he starts putting the dirt on the Undertaker. Digs up Mankind first, throws the dirt on the Taker, and then everybody starts coming out, trying to bury the Undertaker. I mean, Mankind was there. We seen Goldust, Crush, Bradshaw. Paul Bearer's over there. Paul Bearer's screaming, all the way to the top! All the way! Fill it up! Fill it up! He's gone! The Undertaker's gone! As Paul Bearer says, oh, yes! The way he talked. Rest in peace, Paul. Just another great actor. He fit that role. I don't think anybody else could have played that better than he could. I believe in real life he was a mortician. It's crazy, man. It's funny. Funny how things work in life. But anyway, going back to the match now, you think Undertaker is dead. You think he's buried, he's gone. Show's about to end. Jerry Lawler gives out this laugh, this real organic laugh. He's not coming back, bitch. He's out of there. And then there's silence. And then, as the lights are flickering, mind you, lights are flickering on and off the whole time during this burial. Okay, and there had to be a moment where Undertaker escaped out of here somehow, went into another doorway. Okay, I look back at it now because the dirt was just too even after they've been burying for about a minute or so. And then that dirt piles up there, lights is off, and it looks like they're leaving, and wham! Lightning strikes the grave, and the hand emerges from the gravesite. That scene, that graphic, where the Undertaker's hand comes up from the ground, from that gravesite, and Vince saying, I quote this, the Undertaker's alive! He's alive! The Undertaker lives! He will not rest in peace! Stuck in my head. It's stuck in my head after I watched that back, and I'm like, wow. Vince McMahon was a damn good commentator, number one. Number two, okay, The Undertaker. That man is a legend. Just thinking about all the matches that were created because of his gimmick. Buried Alive match. Casket match. Hell in a Cell. Inferno match. I mean, come on. It's incredible. It's incredible that because of one man and his personality and his gimmick, so many great matches came of that. So many great moments came of that. And that's what brings me to my point. Where are these characters, folks? Where are the next Undertakers? Well, there'll never be another Undertaker, but where are these characters that can compare even halfway to the Undertaker nowadays? This is what we're missing. This is what we need in the business of pro wrestling. Now, WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call it, okay, they went through many different phases, many different transitions. And right now, we're dealing with a very unique time. You know, the virus has taken a lot of things, put a lot of businesses out of commission, and we are forced to improvise right now. But the one thing that we still have that creative freedom. We still have, well, at least the main guys have that creative freedom. Okay, point is, what I'm trying to bring out is, you still have good storytelling. Why not? Why can't we create this? Okay, this is a time period, 1996, that I miss dearly. And I find myself, not only with pro wrestling, but even with movies and other things, going back to things in the 90s and early 2000s, because I feel like they were better than the stuff that we see nowadays. And I don't understand why that is. I don't know if it's mainly because of nostalgia, or if things back then that were done were the first of its kind and it's been oversaturated now, and now we have to get original, and people are lazy, and we're not getting that original. But this is something I miss. And you know, I was happy that the WWE decided to go back to this pay-per-view In Your House with NXT. Now, yes, it's not original, but because of the name, because of the history, okay, I enjoyed it. But we got to start creating things like this that's new, that's fresh, that's original, okay, that fans can love, and it can become a household name. Events like this, create different kind of theme events. Create that stage, that unique stage setup that we rarely see anymore. Okay? Every pay-per-view had a personality. Even the In Your Houses later on, okay? They had a personality. This one did. And it was buried alive. And The Undertaker was buried alive. But he rose from that grave. And for the next 24 years in his career, he delivered incredible matches. Now, they announced his retirement recently, but do I think he's done completely? No. I think The Undertaker has one more match left. One more. Just one more round. And everybody knows, everybody feels that he should be going against one man to close that book, to close that legacy. And that man is Sting. But do I think that match is going to happen, folks? Unfortunately, I do not. So if The Undertaker's going to have one more match, and it's not against Sting, it has to be against a man that you want to pass that torch to. Because that is what we do in this business. But folks, I want to thank you for tuning into the recap of WWE's In Your House. Buried Alive. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe below. Follow us on social media, on Instagram at JimmyJ.ENT, on Twitter at JHag719. That's JHAGG719 as I continue to ring that bell and wrap up everything going on in the pro wrestling world, folks. Be safe, God bless, and stay tuned because there will be another Flashback Friday coming your way in just a couple of weeks.
We're coming into your house.